Hello, everybody. Tonight is a very special episode as Dirk is on assignment in New Mexico. You're dealing with Scott Prime all night in this primetime special of Task Force Geek number 38. We're going to talk about Wonder Woman. We're going to talk about Spider-Man's new costumes. We're going to talk about like celebrity deaths and people will miss and things we got for Christmas. All on the next episode, or this episode, because I've already messed up, of Task Force Geek. Hello, I'm Scott Prime, and today I'm joined with Sean.
Yo.
Howdy, Sean. How you doing, buddy?
Not too bad.
Good. We got Walt with us as well today.
What's
How
up?
you doing, Walt?
What's up? What's going on?
And our guest today is Steve Kilowoggy Campbell from Both Down, who's also a co-host with me on our Blood Bowl podcast.
Thanks for having me back.
How's everybody doing?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the end of the year.
Yeah.
I am super nervous running the board for Dirk. And I'm going to do this now because I'll probably forget to ever do it again. Ronnie says hello.
What's up, Ronnie?
There's a lot of buttons to press here. So, I got to turn that one off. That's pretty cool. All right. Gentlemen, let's talk about our first subject if I can find it here. We're going to talk about...
No foreplay, just jumping straight in, huh?
I guess. Do you want some foreplay?
Hey, we have children watching.
we do have children. Our first subject is,
I'm sure they played with numbers. It's fine.
Yeah.
You think they have played with numbers? Let's do this. Here it is.
I played with numbers as a kid.
And Scott has frozen.
Sweet.
If you're unaware, Scott and I live basically the same neighborhood, and his internet is horrible. So this could be a recurring problem for the evening.
Sweet.
2020. This is amazing. Sorry, we're going to talk about this.
Okay, Scott, change your name to Cobra Bat. You're going to talk like a robot.
Oh, this is 2020.
All right, do I have you guys? Is this going to fade in and out all night? Is this going to be a recurring theme?
Yeah, we have your voice, but we don't have your visuals.
Okay, I can see my face, but I can't see Walt's face. So this is just spectacular.
Awesome.
That's all right. If you have my voice, that's all you need, right? Let's talk about Wonder Woman. Who has seen it?
I have seen it.
Are we raising hands?
Sean,
What?
have you seen it? You haven't seen it yet?
Oh, Sean's the lucky one.
Oh, yes, he is. Without giving away too many spoilers or anything that happens during the movie, let's talk about our thoughts on the movie. And I think we probably should go to the most positive first. Let's go to Steve.
Yeah. I'll be the most positive, but there's not much positive to say. It was kind of a garbage fire. I mean,
Hello, Jerry.
It's about a 4 out of 10. That's being generous.
Wow.
Story is slipshod. The directing, not that great. Visual appeal's not good.
Wow.
I mean, my giving it a 4 is much higher than I'm sure anyone else here is going to give it. Without spoilers, what can I say?
You told me that you were at least excited to see a couple of DC villains. I think it's not spoiling those.
Oh, yeah. But nothing. I mean, they mentioned Simon Stagg, which I thought was cool.
I agree.
Have his bodyguard, his daughter, Rex Mason, any type of, metamorpho stuff. They didn't have anything like that.
Right.
There was no Easter eggs of any sort for anything that was remotely interesting.
Walt, what did you think about Wonder Woman that you can talk about without spoiling it?
Oh, man, there's so much in this movie that's wrong. Just so wrong. I mean, I can say that
Dirk is chiming in. How's New Mexico, buddy?
Hey Dirk, let's just say that the movie has one of probably the most recognizable Wonder Woman villain of all. Probably the most iconic Wonder Woman villain of all, and she's hardly in it.
You're talking about the cheetah?
Yeah.
Because I know you're not talking about Max Lord.
No.
Or Giganta.
No, Jay.
Definitely Wonder Woman's main arch enemy villain. And going into that movie, I hate Kristen Wiig. I thought for sure that I would hate everything about her. I didn't have any problem with her at all.
Oh, no problems with Kristen Wiig at all. In fact, I actually wanted to see more of her, and there just wasn't enough.
And I actually liked the look of the cheetah when we actually did see her for like 5 seconds.
That I did not like. I felt that spending $200 million on that movie, they could have done better than that.
Yeah, there's.
So Sean, why haven't you got to see Wonder Woman 84 yet? Because there's a reason I asked for this.
The first reason is I don't have HBO Max, and I am not going to pay for HBO Max.
Do you have a TV that could actually receive it?
I believe so.
Because I ran into that trouble. I don't know if anybody else did, unless I'm just being an old man here. But we tried to get the app and stuff on my TV in the living room, and it would not work. I needed, I guess, a Sony TV, maybe.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. You have a Samsung. There's no HBO Max on
Samsung.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even.
I did it through my Roku.
Yeah, I couldn't put it on the main TV in the living room for the whole family to watch. We had to cram in here.
If it's a Samsung TV, it also has to do with how old the TV is too.
Okay.
Because when let's say, I think the second year that the WWE Network was going on, the first year my WWE app on my smart TV worked. The second year it didn't because they had upgraded the app and it did not work on my Samsung TV. I was just 1 year short. I mean, the TV was brand new when I got it, and I got the WWE, but it was an older TV. So the following year, they did away with that TV and upgraded it, and it no longer worked anymore. So,
my thoughts on the movie was it was a really complete waste of time, for real. Like, if you haven't seen it, you're not missing anything at all. I thought the first one was superior to the second one. Obviously, It didn't feel like we really got enough 80s things, even though that's what it was trying to glorify was the 80s.
There's not a single 80s song in that movie.
Well,
actually there is, but it's at the very beginning, and it's Duran Duran's Rio.
Okay. And also within like the first 5 minutes of being in 1984, they go to an arcade, and one of the games there prominently displayed is Operation Wolf, which came out
in the 90s.
87.
Oh, 87? Okay, well.
That's the level we're at. I mean, if you want to get nitpicky, like the Foley was lazy. The editing was lazy. The prop direction was lazy. Everything was lazy.
Very.
There was a lot of stuff here, and I don't know if there was a lot of like agendas or if this was just a bad movie or... now, you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Patty Jenkins directed the first one, right?
Mm-hmm. Directed and wrote.
No, she didn't write the first one.
I thought she did with Cons.
No, it was she co-wrote this one, but the first one was co-written by Zack Snyder and somebody else.
Okay, so technically, and this is where we can get into a little bit of minutia of Screenwriter Guild credits. You can't have more than 2 people on a screenplay credit unless through arbitration it's added. There are 3 people on this screenplay. There's her, Jeff Johns, and then Dave Callahan. So in order for Dave Callahan to be added, it had to go through arbitration, and he would either have contributed 33% of the initial work which I don't think is the case, or he did more than 50% of a rewrite with the other two involved. So most likely what happened, and I have nothing to back this up other than my minimal understanding of how Hollywood credits go, is she and Jeff Johns came up with the idea. Wonder Woman 1984, blah, 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 blah. They gave that idea to this other guy. He wrote the screenplay, and then they added those three people as the screenplay by. So I don't think she or Johns had much input other than this is the direction we want to go. These are the people we want to use. And here, you go write the screenplay, Mr. I did the Expendables and Doom. This guy's not a good screenwriter to begin with. So
either way,
on him.
I say the movie would have flopped if it was way out in theaters. You know, it came out during a pandemic, so it is what it is. Sean, do you have anything to add? I know you haven't seen this, so this is kind of not.
I am so excited to check this out. I can't even tell you how excited I am to watch this movie.
I heard how bad it was.
Everything so far.
I've heard how bad it was, and I really looked at Jennifer and I said, "We're gonna like this because everybody so far that I know hates it." So you know, usually my expectations will be down, and I'll sit back and enjoy it. Like we enjoyed the last Hellboy movie, and a lot of people hated that. So I really thought I would enjoy this one, and it's just. It's really bad. And I kept to myself and didn't say anything. And she started saying things to me. And I was like, so you don't like this? And she was like, no, this is awful. And anyways.
I tell you, when some of my feminist friends were posting how bad this movie was, I was like,
yeah, I think that says a lot. Right?
Yeah, that says a lot right there. So
the first Wonder Woman movie was not all that great. It was a remake of Captain America. I don't care what anybody says. It was a remake of Captain America in World War One.
I don't disagree with that.
I do, but that's fine.
I don't disagree with that either, but I still like the movie.
It was entertaining, but it wasn't they weren't breaking any new ground with it. There was nothing special about Wonder Woman other than you got Gal Gadot, which you put her in anything. I don't care.
Won't wrestle.
I'll watch it. I will watch it because it's Gal Gadot.
I agree, but even she couldn't save this movie.
Yeah, she couldn't.
The first movie also had the fact that it was World War One. She was being introduced to that time.
He's in New Mexico, Michelle.
There was a lot more stuff going on other than the cringiest of love stories. It's been 70 years, and she can't get past this one guy. And I get it. This is a fault of DC. She's had one love interest.
Thanks for the info, Dirk.
They want to do a love interest, then they got to force him in there somehow. But that was just dumb.
There's a lot more we're going to talk about after the end credits of the show. We're going to just speak our mind and tell you stuff. So if you haven't seen it yet, we're not going to spoil anything here. If you haven't seen it yet, don't waste your time unless you just, prove us wrong. Maybe find a good
I enjoyed it. I will. It's not a good movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. There's a lot of bad in it. I enjoyed Max Lord a lot. I thought he did a great job.
One of the Task Force Geek people said something like, yeah, it was horrible, but it was nice to take a break from the current state of the world. So I'll give that. It was something we were excited to see. So that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our next subject here. I got to find a little cool banner, and let's do this. All right.
You wanted.
I am not.
What's that?
I'm not a fan of that music.
You don't like that music?
That's pretty chill. I don't think you wanted that header because now aren't we going into the DC extended universe?
Oh yeah, I jumped the gun, didn't I?
That was on the first.
You're right. So let's talk about the DC extended universe. Oh my gosh, I'm so messed up here. So they talked about. Let's see, it's right here. These are, if you want to read this, I'm not going to read the article verbatim. They announced that they're going to try to, I guess Warner Brothers is going to try to do 4 DC movies a year and then like 2 straight to the streaming service. What's y'all's thoughts on that? I frankly thought as soon as I saw Wonder Woman, I was like, I think this killed like any momentum for like a universe type atmosphere like the Marvel had, because it's just it's really awful. And the article that I'm talking about also mentions that in 2022 we're gonna get the Batman, the Flash, Aquaman 2, and then a new Shazam movie in 2023. Y'all's thoughts on that?
Suicide Squad is out this year too.
Yeah.
Who do you want to go first?
I'll go.
Let's go to Walt.
I'm looking forward to Shazam. It
was good, huh?
Yeah, I liked the first Shazam movie. In fact, I liked it better than I liked the first Wonder Woman movie. It was everything that if you're a fan of Shazam, or as I like to say, the original Captain Marvel, it was
Amen.
It was a kid in a grown man's body, like I expected it to be. It was the big red cheese. It was cheesy the way it was supposed to be cheesy. You know, a kid in a grown man's body in a grown superhero's body. It was great. I mean, but everything else, I mean, Aquaman was okay. In fact, Wonder Woman 84 felt like Aquaman to me. And not as good as Aquaman. I'll just put it that way too. But as far as them doing 4 movies a year, 2 straight to streaming, and 2 in the theater, it's not that much different from what Disney's doing with Marvel Plus. I mean, with Disney Plus and the Marvel stuff. I mean, the only difference is Marvel is doing big theatrical, big, huge theatrical set pieces, and then filling the gap with episodic shows. So I don't see much difference in that. As far as a DC universe, they've already established that everything's in different universes. So they've got their multiverse going. They can do whatever they like. So I'm fine with that.
Michelle agreed with you, Walt. She liked it a lot. So, Sean, let's go to you.
I think the DCEU is, as we know it, is dead.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Wonder Woman is going to continue to be its own thing. Batman's going to continue to be its own thing. Superman, whenever we get another one of those, will be its own thing. And I'll believe it when I see it that they're going to do an Aquaman 2. I think all of it is dead in the water. They're gonna go in their own direction. They're gonna start new. They're gonna start fresh. Flashpoint is gonna reset everything. And
fingers crossed.
Which again, I'm a big fan of Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I thought he did fantastic. Big fan of Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot as Jason Momoa. I'm a huge fan of all these guys, but I think that one, DC doesn't know what they're doing. They're throwing spitballs at the wall and hoping something sticks. They don't know what they're doing, and AT&T is probably just sitting there saying, we don't care. Put it on HBO Max because that's where we're going to make our money. So, maybe the stuff on HBO Max might turn out to be good. I mean, the stuff on the CW was always very, very interesting, very exciting. I always complained that they needed to throw more money at those episodes because they clearly had the talent. They clearly had the actors, the writers, the people that were involved were, deeply involved. It just something about the movies, man. They couldn't get it right. They just could not get that stuff right.
Yeah, it feels like they're stuck in like 2020 in a lot of these movies. Steve, let's go to you.
I'm the big DC guy. I'm looking forward to everything because I will watch anything DC pretty much, except I haven't seen like the new Swamp Thing.
See it.
I heard that, but then I also heard it didn't end well, and I just need to stay down and watch it. I was going to use the analogy that they're basically just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. That was just used, so I agree with that. And they just don't know what they're doing. That's very apparent. Marvel had no idea what they were doing when they started, but the thing that they did differently is they picked good people who they trusted and let them do the job. DC has not done that. You look at Joker. The Joker movie was phenomenal. Some people don't like it, some people loved it. Either way, it was very well directed, it was well written, it was well acted, it was well received. It made a lot of money off of what it put into it. You look at something like Wonder Woman 84. Obviously, too many people involved. They are just trying to protect themselves, catering to the current whim or whatever it is. There's no solid love for these characters. There's no single person in charge making these decisions. There's never going to be a giant Justice League movie. There never should have been one to begin with. DC doesn't do that. Marvel did that because they built up to it for 10 years. DC tried to do it out of the gate. Hard to do that when you have to introduce all these people again, and then et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully this is actually something that will work out for them, because if you get enough people into stuff, if you throw enough ideas out with people, like if they stop caring so much where everything's so precious that the executives are involved in every single decision, and they can just go, okay, you like the character, you're a good writer, go make a movie, let's see how it works. Don't need to worry about the grand universe of the DCEU. Just make whatever. I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. Kilowog being a Green Lantern, where I got my name. They're going to do a TV show on Green Lantern. I assume Jeff Johns is going to be involved. I'm just hoping that turns out well. Suicide Squad could be amazing because of who's involved with it now, and it's going to be fun and goofy, just like Guardians of the Galaxy. That's what DC needs. Shazam was good because it was goofy and fun. Aquaman was fun. That's what they need. The serious BS of like Wonder Woman 84, where there's barely a joke. It's just boring.
I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. I feel like they have like some really good actors in these roles. I mean, like Jason Momoa is made for Aquaman. Gal Gadot's made for Wonder Woman. I would even say that who's the Superman actor? I can't think of his name.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck is the older Bruce Wayne. All these people are like perfect, and they're squandering this time with these people because they just can't get their stuff together. Dirk made a good point here. He said maybe they're just going with the screw it. It's all part of our fragmented, multiverse, with the Joker, like you said, Steve, and stuff like that, which is fine, but they just haven't came out and said anything that I know of like that.
That would mean that they had a plan, and they don't have a plan.
Yeah, the only time they mentioned that it's a multiverse is during the CW Crisis on Infinite Earths, and they came out and said that there's this multiverse and everything, and they showed the Doom Patrol, and they showed Stargirl, and they were all in these different Earths, and they had the Earth number on them and everything.
And they even had the movie Flash in there.
So
that's where it seems like Marvel and DC differ. It's like it feels like they're not.
We're losing you.
Yeah, but if that's where you're saying it's different, DC doesn't have that main person that's in charge of everything that can actually come out and say, "I am the DC guy." Like they wanted Jeff Johns to be that, but he's not that.
Yeah, he's not that.
And he's honestly, he's great. Like, I'm a huge Green Lantern fan. When he took it over, it was amazing.
Same here.
Once he ran out of his ideas and started having to come up with new stuff versus the stuff that he had since he was a kid, it got really weird really fast. And there was way too many rings and colors and all this stuff. So there's no one head DC guy that can just be like, okay, it's going to be a multiverse from here on out, and we're going to just let people do what they want and not worry about the grand scheme.
Yeah,
Marvel had that.
They need a Feige.
Yeah, they really do.
They need a Feige.
Ronnie puts here, look at the Marvel, for example. Why can't DC make a live action that doesn't suck? Yeah, we get that. I agree with Ronnie on this as well. It seems like DC's animation's really good, all their movies.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I mean, it's like it's like that Hydra meme where it has like, Kevin and the other Hydras are all serious. That's what it feels like for DC.
Yeah.
Damon says they're wasting Henry Cavill's potential by doing great in other shows. That's true.
Yep.
And Mike, but there's so much more source material for them to draw from. All agreed. We could beat this to death.
Going back to Steve's mention of them going straight to the Justice League movie, that's the exact same thing they did with the New 52.
Mm-hmm.
They did Justice League right off the bat. And,
I agree, Dirk.
And it was, I don't care what anybody says, it was a terrible book.
Yeah.
I did not. And
if we're talking about the comics back then, they said that they had this plan. Like they did this retreat and they built this whole universe that was apparently a lie from the first 2 issues in.
Exactly.
Right.
Nothing made sense and everything was contradicting.
I like what Dirk says here. I say put Bruce Timm in charge of everything.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, all right.
Filoni that boy.
Yeah. Filoni
that, right? All right, let's move on.
One last thing is I think, unfortunately, Jeff Johns can bear the brunt of a lot of these problems because he was supposed to come in as that Kevin Feige character to solidify it and put it under his direction. And he just failed with it. He wasn't that type of person. He's not that type of writer. And he wasn't able to manage stuff. And maybe that's the fault of the production companies and all the heads getting their say in stuff. But DC has to let those reins go before they can actually make good product.
I agree. All right, let's move on to our next subject right here. See how I changed that up since I always wasted the comics one, so we're going to use the Marvel banner. Sean just posted this earlier today about Spider-Man getting a new costume in Amazing Spider-Man 61. Now, I have my opinions on this, so I'm going to show it to everybody as soon as I find it, and it's just going to go over everybody's face here, and I want you to just take a look at it.
Yeah, it's a costume. Big deal.
So this is coming out, I guess, Spider-Man 61, and this is a cover to Spider-Man 63. I am probably the only person here that's currently reading Spider-Man, and as of today, when I read the latest issue, I could tell you there's no hint onto a costume change. But we're also in the middle of the story arc. So, who would like to tackle this first for your thoughts? Let's go. I want to save Sean because I can see him stewing.
Yeah.
Let's go to Walt.
I can't wait to use it in the video game, and that's just about it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Yep.
Isn't that really cool? Now, the cover here shows that it says Stark in the background. I wonder if that's a hint that.
Well, you can see the Stark building, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's the Stark building, but I wonder if that's maybe foreshadowing that he gets it from somebody.
It's temporary. I'm not gonna. I mean,
Dirk says hard pass.
Yeah, I have my 3 favorite Spider-Man costumes, and of course, it's the original, the original red and blue, the black and white. Nobody can deny the black and white, and I love the Future Foundation costume. So, other than that, everything else is just.
Does 2099 count? Because
the original, you know what? The original 2099 outfit was pretty cool too. I love
that outfit.
Yeah, that one was really different.
Yeah,
but as far as the ones that really stand out, I'll throw that one in as 4. Those are the 4 that really stand out. And honorable mention, we'll get the original. We'll put in the original Scarlet Spider outfit.
Yeah,
the hooded
Batman.
All right, Steve, we're gonna go to you.
Okay, this is not a story. Who cares?
Yeah.
He's getting a new costume so they can sell comics and toys, and who really cares? The bigger thing is,
Steve, look at this.
Yeah, whatever.
Steve, look at that.
I don't like Spider-Man as a character for the most part, But I will tell you the one thing I do like about Spider-Man is the multitude of costumes.
Oh, I thought it was because he was like a college boy.
No.
No? Okay.
Oh,
I'm out of here.
Sorry.
No. So ultimately, I've just never been a fan of the character. He's whiny. He's a super genius, but can't afford to buy his mom's or aunt's groceries, whatever. Breeding him back in Silver Age, never liked him. But I love the fact that they keep tinkering with the costume and making new versions of it. And like you said, it'll be in the video game eventually. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I like the different takes on it because visually it's interesting. But it's not a thing. This is not going to stick around. None of them ever do.
Yeah. Agreed.
I
Oh, did we just lose him again?
And we're stuck on me. So I would obviously, wasn't the original one technically black and red?
Originally, it was supposed to be black and red, and the black wasn't showing up very well.
Same
So,
with
yeah, or actually, it was the blue was supposed to be a highlight on the black,
okay.
and everybody just started assuming that it was blue and red.
Makes sense. So obviously, the original we just have to assume is always going to be the default best. And I'm just going to keep talking until Scott's back. I'm with you. The black and white, the first Venom type costume, that's amazing. Yeah. When that came out, that storyline when he took down Firelord was just amazing.
That was amazing. Pun intended, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't reading him much in the 90s, so the Scarlet Spider stuff and all that was interesting. I like the different suits. Based on the movie, I love Spider Noir. Thought that's just a weird take.
Yeah, that was pretty good too. Oh, is he back? Kinda, sorta.
He's in stunned silence.
He's shocked.
But yeah, Spider-Man 2099, when that came out, that costume was hands down like my favorite thing aside from the black and white. The black and white will always be my favorite.
Yeah.
Am I back?
You're back.
You are back.
Oh my gosh. So here's what we learned tonight, that if you have crappy internet and you drop out of this, the live stream will continue to keep going. So at any point when I drop out for the next 13 times over the course of the next 45 minutes, keep the show going, guys.
We did.
All right.
We did. We
All
talked
right.
bad about you too.
That's good. That's good. That keeps us going. All right, real quick, I'm going to say, like, this whole Spider-Man costume thing, I know people who... What's that?
You can get Sean's take.
I'm going to save him for last because I figure it's best to rotate us around. We'll see. I think it's just a gimmick, like casual readers are going to see this and go, oh, this is a new big deal. And we've seen this countless times. And, Wonder Woman's costume changes every now and then, and they say this is how it's always going to be, and it's never going to be that way. I promise you by the end of 2021, he'll be back in the red and blue costume, just like always. This will be good for like video games, like you guys talked about. This costume might just have like some type of enhancement to fight some certain villain like Claw or, the Gray Gargoyle or something like that. I don't think this is a story, just like Steve said. It's a gimmick to get us to talk about it, get other people to talk about it, maybe sell some hero clicks along the way in an action figure.
And it worked.
Yep. Sean, going to you.
Really, everybody's kind of covered it. It's a gimmick.
Look at that.
Speaking of covering.
There's nothing.
I covered
there's
you,
nothing
Sean.
about it.
So
that's worth.
I would say like the last time that I bought a Spider-Man comic was when they were doing different covers that had the different costumes on them. And I bought, what was it, Scott? Like 25 different comics.
During the other storyline, they kept doing a lot of like alternate covers with just
and
different
I was
heroes
buying every single one of them just to have the different cover with the different costume because it was cool up until they started doing them as 1 in 100 variants.
Yeah, those are all... I believe those variants you're talking about were done by the late, great Mike Wieringo back in the day. And he even did a Spider-Ham variant and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's when I stopped doing it because I'm like, I'm not paying that much. I just enjoyed it for $3 each, whatever.
That's why I appreciate the internet.
Yep.
I will.
So you can just look at it and move on?
I can just look at them, download them if I want. I don't need to buy the comic.
I will say this. I do like that artist's style.
I don't mind the style. I think the costume in and of itself is fine. I don't have an issue with the.
I don't have an issue with it either. It's just
it's not Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's too bright, if you ask me.
Mike says this makes him appreciate the black costume better.
Yeah.
And Ronnie says, don't mess up an effing icon.
I mean, honestly.
Is Steve hanging out with Mark effing Hamill? He might.
Yes.
Why?
That is Steve, not my buddy Steve, my friend Steve.
This one right here. Look at the little icon here. Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah, I got it. That's cool. Anyways, let's move on to our next subject. I got to find it here, and then I got to go find the banner. Golly, I give Dirk such a hard time for this, and I'm still going to when he returns. All right. I didn't know what to call this, so we just went WTF. We've lost a lot of people, this year, like celebrities. Some of us have lost family, friends. We're going to try to stick to the like celebrities or people who entertain us because, if you were a big James Bond fan, you lost Sean Connery, so that's a big deal to you. I'm going to go first here, and I'm going to talk about, since I'm kind of the pro wrestling guy, John Huber died, also known as Brody Lee, or he was part of the Wyatt family in WWE. Luke Harper. There he is here. He was only 41, and that's why this kind of bugs me when people who are younger than you die. I mean, to say that I outlived, there he is again with the Wyatt family. To say like I outlived Kobe Bryant, John Huber, and other people, it feels kind of weird, when everybody.
Shirt and tribute.
There you go. Good job, Steve. So everything I've read about this guy, he was like a really good guy behind the scenes with his family and kids. People said they learned a lot from him. And I don't know if all that's true. He died from like a lung condition. He was at the Mayo Clinic for many, many months. It was non-COVID related. That really doesn't matter. He's passed away and gone. And I know like wrestling's lost quite a few wrestlers this year. Tracy Smothers died, Pat Patterson, the first Intercontinental Champion, and more importantly, the guy that was kind of behind the scenes in WWE for a very long time, running the bookings and stuff like that. So we've lost a lot of celebrities. And if you don't have anybody to talk about, you can just skip you, and if you do, bring it up. Let's talk about it, because we were talking before the show began, and you guys mentioned quite a few people. I'm just going to keep it all on us in this all four-way here. And who wants to talk first?
Let's do one each, and then go on the next person.
All right, let's start with Sean.
Well, the first one that really struck me is Wilford Brimley. For years, and as horrible as this may sound, I thought he was already dead.
Everybody
I honestly thought he was already dead.
Yeah.
I know that sounds terrible, and I feel horrible for even saying it, but
we all thought he was dead.
Gone. Yeah. So when they announced that he had passed, I was like, "What do you mean? Wasn't that years ago?"
Yeah.
What do you mean? That blew me away. So that was really kind of a shock for me. But there were a multitude of others.
So if we keep on that line, I'll go next.
Sure.
Olivia de Havilland passed away this year.
Mm-hmm.
Actress from Gone in the Wind, 1939 movie. She was born
in
in 1918. She's 102 and passed away. Like living Hollywood royalty was still alive. I thought that was interesting.
That's a odd one that you bring out, but you love those old classics.
Well, since we're talking, old people we thought were dead. I mean, it kind of fit perfectly.
Was Cocoon with Wilford Brimley in 1984?
And he was like 45 in that or something.
Yeah, he was like in his late 40s, 50 at most. I thought he was like 80 years old back then. Yeah. It's amazing how you look at things with like 12-year-old eyes versus how you look now with 46-year-old eyes.
People look differently than they do nowadays than they used to, too. Yeah. Better living, more medicine, all type of stuff.
That's true. Walt, you got somebody?
I think the one that kind of affected us pretty hard, almost like John Huber, Chadwick Boseman.
Amen, brother.
I mean,
Huge.
he was only 45, and was secretly battling cancer. Nobody knew. Nobody for that whole time. The whole time he filmed the Black Panther on, he was battling it, and nobody knew about it.
He had posted a picture because I follow him on Instagram, and he had posted a picture on there where he was emaciated.
Yeah.
And I thought, what role are you playing, and how quickly are you coming back to Black Panther?
Yeah.
I mean, actors do that. You look at his name just left me. Who?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Whenever he did The Machinist,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
he put on like 80,000 pounds of muscle for Batman right after. So
De Niro.
I figured,
De Niro too does that. Robert
Right.
De Niro. Yeah.
So I was expecting this has to be for a role. He can't be sick. He's got Black Panther coming up. You can't be sick.
Yeah.
And then to find out everything that he was going through, it's like, oh, smack. I blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. And
What's also interesting about that is people had to have known, because he's the star of a major film. He had to get insurance. He had to get a complete physical.
it wasn't that he was the star of just one. I mean, he knocked out what was it, 5 or 6 films?
Yeah, he kept working
in between. I mean, 3 of them I think came out on Netflix this year.
He did one with Spike Lee. He did that one. And then another one just came out. You're right. Another one just came out on Netflix.
Jackie Robinson one.
He did the Jackie Robinson one. But yeah. Oh, and going to your John Huber thing.
Dirk didn't know Wilford Brimley died.
Yeah. And Scott, going to your John Huber thing. If you get a chance, if you search on YouTube on Austin Creed's Up, Down, Down, you'll see where he and Becky Lynch and some of the other wrestlers, when they did the show in Tokyo in Japan, they did the go-kart tour of Tokyo, and he's wearing the Mario hat.
that fits.
So because they all dress him up as Super Mario Kart characters, and he wore Mario, and I can't remember who else was there. I
think I've seen the picture of Becky Lynch kind of dressed up. I thought it was a Halloween thing.
No, that's
she posted how when I was down, you brought me up type deal, behind the scenes.
And he played a really mean guy. He was a really, really mean guy in wrestling. I mean, this is a guy you looked at and you're like, dang, But
I know most people probably don't care about Luke Harper because he was kind of like, a stooge for Way Bright, the Bright family and all that stuff. Oh, and over at A&E, he was kind of the leader of the Dark Circle, I believe is what they were called.
Yeah.
And he had a quick run with the TNT title over there before he dropped it and disappeared because of this condition. But what I found fascinating about him is he was such a good worker. Like, if you needed somebody to go make somebody else look good, this guy was going into that match to make you look good and lose, to help you out. And I really appreciated his wrestling ability.
Yeah.
And he played the kooky, creepy, weird guy really, really well.
Really well.
Really well.
Really well.
Kind of scared. I'm going to get to a few comments here. Damon says, basketball is my first love. Kobe passing hit me hard. Chadwick's bigger than just Black Panther. I agree. I think Black Panther's him passing affects so many young kids and stuff. It
wasn't just
in
his
hospital
passing
with cancer, and he had cancer.
Yeah.
If I had cancer, I'm just curling up in a ball and dying, or doing a lot of drugs. I'm not sure which.
It wasn't that Chadwick Boseman. It wasn't that Chadwick Boseman passed at such a young age. It was how he handled himself, how he carried himself.
Exactly.
During that entire time. You want to talk about a man who presented himself as a king. He embodied the T'Challa mantra or whatever. He didn't just act that part. He had that. that air about him all the time. He was courteous to everyone. He was caring. He was, there was just something about that man that him passing, not losing the character, not losing any of it was the person that he was, which really, at least for me, was really what was devastating, because he held himself, or he carried himself in such a manner that when he was on screen, you paid attention. You paid attention to exactly what he was going to say. And it wasn't because you were for lack of a better word, fearful of his wrath or anything. It was just, he commanded that respect, and he did it humbly. He did it graciously, and he was an amazing guy, I think. And it's truly a shame that we didn't get more of him. Thankfully, he's recorded a lot of voiceover for the What If, so we've still got a lot of his performances upcoming.
Yeah,
but
what he did for Sienna Miller in 21 Bridges, she was basically not going to come back to acting. I mean, she was not looking forward, looking for any acting jobs or whatever, but he demanded that she get that role, and that she be in that role. And when he found out that they weren't going to pay her the money that she wanted or deserved, in his words, he took a pay cut to get her that money so that she would be in that movie. So that's the type of person he was.
He's on that same Keanu Reeves level of you give him respect because he earns it, not because he demands it.
Right.
What a wonderful human being. It's a tragedy we lost such a soul.
To tag on to that just a little bit, keeping in the same line of someone with cancer who actually, lived how they should in their final days, Alex Trebek.
Definitely.
Loved by so many people just for hosting.
That's a great one, Steve.
We don't know how he was in real life, but we know how he was on the show, and he always came off as a great guy. A little condescending or funny, but that's his job. But the fact that he learned about it, told people, got all the praise and love in from everyone, and kept everybody a part of his journey. And was like, look, I'm doing fine. I'm going to go back and record. I'm not doing well. Okay, we're going to finish this off. And then they passed, and they did a tribute to him. And he knew what he had. He knew his time was short. And again, instead of just hating the world and shutting himself off from it, he continued to give and give back into what he was doing. And it was just a great way to go out.
All agreed. Does anybody else want to add anybody to this? I mean, I know we just kind of hit names. Let me go to see what maybe other people said.
I can go on for an hour.
Steve said Chuck Yeager. Dirk says Boseman is another case of picking the absolute best person to play the MCU role. Yep.
Absolutely.
We did get cheated by not getting a few more movies out of him, and that's being selfish. But let's see. Bit closer to home, another great guy we lost. Our friend Steve Martin. Agreed. Let's see what Steve say. That's the story I was talking about, Walt. Maybe I didn't remember exactly right. I guess you covered that. Therese is definitely Alex Trebek. Mm-hmm. And Mike Kennedy says one of the best practical jokes involved Jeopardy. I don't really get that.
But ask about it later on.
It's probably something way obvious that I'm not thinking of at this moment.
So a couple that I just want to touch on real quick.
Sure.
Carl Reiner, huge influence in comedy.
Carl Reiner. Yeah.
Best friend of Mel Brooks for ages. I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan, and the fact that man is still alive and, sharp as a tack last time anyone talked to him. They got together every night, watched a movie every night, and they did that for years. And Sid Caesar passed, and then now Carl, so Mel's next, unfortunately. And the final one, which for the most part, probably nobody really cares about, but Curly Neal from the Harlem Globetrotters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
Iconic Globetrotter too.
Yeah.
exactly.
He's the one
Oh,
everybody
yeah.
knows who he is, right?
Yeah.
Because he's the bald one.
Him and Metal Arc Lemon were the two most notable ones. So
And I don't think the Globetrotters as big now as they used to be, but they still do good. They still put on those events all the time across the world, bringing fellowship, basketball, comedy, fundraising. I've seen them live a handful of times, and I don't go to many things, but whenever they came into town, my dad and I always used to go. And it's just, sad to see him go, and also to see how the Globetrotters nowadays just kind of aren't really a thing.
I think we lost Kirk Douglas this year too, didn't we?
We did. 100. Was he 100? 100?
He was over 100. Yeah.
That means Michael Douglas is going to be around forever.
That's great.
My favorite Kirk Douglas
more Ant-Man movies.
was I think it was his last one, The Villain.
The villain's a great
Oh, I
one.
love The Villain.
The Villain.
That- with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
And Margaret. How did I just lose her name? I want to say Anne Margrock.
And Mark Rock, yeah. From
Oh,
the
yeah.
Flintstones.
Hoover mentions David Prowse.
And
Jeremy
Jeremy Bullock.
Bullock. And Jeremy
Boba
Bullock.
Fett.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
just lost Bullock, last week?
Yeah, like a week or two ago. No, last week. You're right. It was last week. Yeah.
I think this is talking about Alex Trebek. This is Mel Brooks, right? Mel and his son. That's good. And then Ronnie says Globetrotters were on Scooby-Doo, man. Of course. That's why.
Of course. Hey, don't forget the Globetrotters cartoon and the Super Globetrotters.
Yeah.
We lost Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
Who I swear to God, he looked just like he did in The Exorcist 80 million years ago.
he was the villain from Flash Gordon, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that who we're talking about? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So
All right.
it's been a horrible year.
Well, it always is actually when we look back. We say every year's worse than the before. Anything else really quick? And otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up and go on to the next subject.
Eddie Van Halen.
Eddie Van Halen.
Hey, there you go.
Kenny Rogers.
Yeah.
Is he
Okay,
dead?
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers passed.
Yeah, he passed.
When
this
did he
year.
die?
February.
Oh, gosh.
Because I missed it too, somehow. And I love Kenny. I grew up on The Gambler.
That is crazy. All right. We'll be right back. I'm glad Ronnie's quote got some extra time there, so that's good.
Ronnie was on blast.
So on blast again, I wanted to use the different music. This is basically kind of going to replace our little what'd you watch, get, do, acquire, whatever it is, and in place of that later. And I know we all just had Christmas. Some of us celebrate a lot. Some of us hardly celebrate at all, or just spend time with our loved ones. And all those things are perfectly good. But I thought, let's show off a few goodies. Maybe we either purchased ourselves for Christmas, because that's what adults do. That's the joy of shopping for your kids, is you go 2 for them, 1 for me. I know I do that. And, so anything you guys want to show off really quick? We won't spend too much time on this. Anybody like to go first? How about me?
Yeah.
I'll go first. All right. First off, I got so many cool things, including a Jackie Daytona shirt of him as the guy from What We Do in the Shadows as Jackie Daytona. Human bartender. I got that from Jennifer. It's awesome. I also acquired Raiders of Scythia. Ooh. Sean, you might like this as well, because this is from the same makers of Raiders of the North Sea board game, which you played.
Nice.
This has just a slightly different mechanic, but in all essence, this is kind of a reskin, retheme with different art, and it plays essentially pretty close to the same. I have not played it yet. And of course, at my house, if you believe in Santa, Santa fills up your stocking and usually leaves you something by the tree. And that jolly guy left me this thing under the tree.
Shinron.
I have the Shinron Pop opened because I wanted to display this. And I saw these got reissued, and I must say, I really didn't even spend any money on this. I got rid of some movies and got some credit at a vintage stock and got this brand new. So this goes well with my Dragon Ball Z advent calendar that me and the kids enjoyed every day leading up to Christmas. It was kind of exciting every day to do that. So anyways, I always wanted one of these to actual display and not keep in the box. I know why people keep these in the box, because this feels really cheap. You can probably hear the crappy plastic. I'm scared this is going to break anytime soon, but oh well, I'm going to enjoy this toy. All right. Let's go to Steve. Steve, you got anything new that you want to show off?
Well, you were kind enough to get me some cool stuff, including some TPBs of Suicide Squad, which is one of my favorite comics. And I'd been reading it on my tablet because I downloaded the comics legally. Let's go with.
Okay.
And funny enough, I'd gotten to the point to where the TPBs pick up. So that's awesome. But most importantly, I got a Captain D's Exciting Adventures
Way.
from 1977. I have no idea where Scott found this.
I did not realize it was that old.
I remember that picture so well.
Oh, wow.
It's got the captain and letters from fans talking about how they're so happy that they get to go to Captain D. It is.
That's funny.
Was the free to our guests. How this survived that long, I have no clue. But
that's wild.
I found it on one of my mini journeys with the lovely Jennifer Bowen, and when I saw that, am I breaking up again?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. All right, you just let me know when I'm back.
You're fine.
Jen went on one of our adventures where we just travel to a town and try to go to every bookstore in town and eat some crappy food. So
it was definitely appreciated, and it's just fun to have goofy stuff from back then.
I knew two people in the world that would love that. It was Steve Campbell or my friend Pump, and there's only one copy, unfortunately. And I always stuff your stocking, so to speak, because we'll just leave it at that. Let's see what got coming here. Dirk says the Captain D's comic is sweet. It really is sweet. It was hard to give it away.
While you're in Mexico, you should look for a Captain D's comic. I'm sure they have several.
I've been showing that to people.
New Mexico has a whole bunch.
New Mexico.
Oh, man. I can't. The last time I had Captain D's, it was so awesome. And Scott and I fell into that trap coming back from Chicago one time, I believe. Probably Chicago. Anyways, we found a Captain D's somewhere.
It was Chicago.
Missouri, right?
Yes.
I think. And we're like, oh, we have to try that. It's Captain D's. We don't have them around anywhere. It was horrible. Like within an hour of eating it, we both were just wanting to rip our guts out and get rid of it as fast as possible. It took forever. It was super greasy. It was not like back in the days, like Captain D's was better than Long John's. This is like Long John's if you left it in the oil for about a day and a half.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
There's a reason why there's only a few of those left, because they're not very good.
It was so bad.
I think my favorite memory of Captain D's was I think on Sundays had all you can eat fish, and my dad took us there and we hogged out on fish, and the lady would come out with a little tray. You want more fish? And you're like, of course I do, lady. I'm a chubby kid. Give me some more fish. Sean, you got anything you want to show off?
I have a picture, if you will share said picture.
Do I have it with me?
I've shared it.
You shared it. How do I do that?
That I have no idea.
Oh, that's going to be interesting.
The other input.
I don't see.
In any case, I will describe it. I purchased
I got it right here. Hold on.
There you go.
There you go.
It is the original screenplay written by Dan O'Bannon for the movie Alien, as interpreted as a comic book. This is the collected graphic novel of that miniseries. 5 issues, I think. I think it was 5 issues, collected in a graphic novel. Now, if you're a fan of Alien, of the story. Obviously, you will recognize the story, even though it is different. You will recognize the story in full, but told in this fashion was very, very interesting. The illustrator was great. I thought everything about it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. It was a good read to see where O'Bannon had started, and then where we finally end up with the movies and such. It's a really neat. If you're into the Alien franchise, it's a neat book. I'd recommend it.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
What's your take on Alien Covenant?
Alien Covenant.
Yeah,
Shouldn't have
Sounds
asked.
really good.
Alien Covenant. I enjoyed Alien Covenant. The problem that I had, which is very similar to like a lot of these, the DCEU and even the Star Wars universe to a point, is they present you with just a small window of a story, and they're relying on you to find all of the what's the word?
Extrapolate out yourself.
All the extra stuff. You've got to find this little video. You've got to find this comic book. You've got to read this novel. You've got to, to get the full story. And that's not how you make a movie.
I have a theory on that movie that I should share with you sometime about how it's essentially how humanity deals with God. And each person's death dies. They each have a different way of dealing with God, which is the old guy, and the knowledge. And the only person who lives is the one who actually seeks to gain knowledge for knowledge's sake. They don't believe without seeking it out. They have to be shown. Whereas the ones who are pushed into it by money, the ones who do it because they were brought up by it, the ones who are pushed into it by family, all those die. But
Howdy, Maxine.
Hey, Mom.
that movie bugged me for about 2 weeks after I saw it. And I'm like, there's something there. And then finally it clicked, and I'm like, I think I cracked it. But I've had no one to really tell.
Covenant didn't bother me. The other than I want a conclusion to that story.
Yeah.
I want an ending, because obviously they left it with a cliffhanger. But to go back even further with Prometheus, if you ever get an opportunity to read Jeff Spaeth's original screenplay for Prometheus, if they would have just filmed that, everything would have been fine.
Maybe
Everything would have been fine. Prometheus hurt my soul watching
that.
that
One
movie.
where at the end they combine with the human and make a white. Anyways, doesn't matter. We're getting into alien talk about Christmas.
No, that was Covenant. But
Sorry.
leading into it, if you can find the script online, just to wrap this up. You can find a script online for the original Prometheus. You can find it for Covenant. And if you are that interested, I highly recommend reading those, because especially Prometheus, it answers so many questions. And then they brought in Damon Lindelof, who I dare say should never write another thing ever in his entire life.
We lost you. Sure.
But I'll let that go.
All right, well, let's go to you. What goodies did Santa bring you under the tree?
I got a few things here. I'm not gonna go over the whole thing, but you all see my Christmas tree back there, right? So
yeah. Is all
look at
that stuff from Santa?
all that stuff is from Santa.
It's because you're a god.
So
God, Walt. I'm gonna come to
I picked out a few from underneath the tree that you all like.
first non-COVID Christmas. I'm coming to your house.
So I got a Sith trooper.
Oh, nice.
So I picked this. This is
Very
what I picked up the last time I was at Empire Toys in Keller, Texas. And I also have this.
Ooh.
Wow. I didn't even know that was available.
Oh, yeah. So I got this at Holocron Toys.
Nice.
But I'm also going to tell you that I got this when season 1 was out. So this is an old piece.
Dude.
Last thing I want to show you is I really meant to show this off last week, but this was a birthday gift a few years ago, and it's now one of my favorite Christmas decorations, and it's a Darth Vader nutcracker.
Oh, that's awesome!
That wins. That wins.
So
That is awesome.
That is awesome, Walt.
So this was a birthday gift from a few years ago. So
Let me get
show
to
that off.
That's awesome. Let me get to a few comments here. Gigi says Steve Campbell's a dynamic individual. This is a triumph return America needed.
Thanks, Tom. He just wants the comic.
Yeah, exactly. Damon, he talks about Alien Covenant here. Gave all the credits to the creation of Xenomorphs. What else we got here? Mike Kennedy says that's like them not using William Gibson's original Alien 3 script.
Yes.
Dark Horse did publish that as a comic
Yeah,
series.
I remember that.
And that was fantastic as well.
And Hooper wants that Cara Dune. He prefers a life-size one.
Yeah, it's not to get too creepy. Come on. As
All
long as
right.
it doesn't talk.
I think I'll wrap this up saying, like, usually I have about 6 to 7 places to go for Christmas. And it was really weird this year not doing anything but staying at home. My family, I was very blessed or spoiled, however you want to look at it, that my family, my mom, she prepared like a whole meal and left it on the porch, her and my aunt. So all we had to do was warm up some ham and some green bean casserole and sweet potatoes, which was really awesome. I know me and the kids made cookies for a lot of people. I sent some to Dirk and Sean, as well as I think Steve got some of those,
I
maybe.
got some. Yeah.
So we tried to give, and it was just really different. My dad, I tease him as Mr. Christmas or Father Christmas because he's the guy who used to buy the trash man, gifts for hauling his trash. He just left stuff on the porch. I mean, I couldn't even go outside and give him a hug saying thanks or anything. So it's very odd, and I hope things change coming the next year, which leads us into the next segment, if I can find it.
Segment.
Yeah, I was trying to stall here. Oh, 2020. Leading up to this year, everybody wanted to say they were going to see 2020 and all this crap, and you heard all the jokes, and it turned out because of the pandemic, it turned into a year that we all kind of are ready to get over with. But like I was saying with the Christmas stuff, I think it was a year where we could learn some things maybe about ourselves, and I wanted to quickly talk about maybe some positive things that did come out of this year.
Oh,
And it stopped on that face. That's beautiful.
So positives from this year and what you're looking forward to next year. Go ahead, Walt.
the positives for this upcoming year, as I try to get a screenshot of that nice look on Scott's face there, which I got. The positives. I'm looking forward to.
I'm back.
I don't know. Are you back?
Kind of hurt you.
Okay, so the positives I'm looking forward to are, just being able to get out. I want to get back out, and I want to do some traveling. There's family that I want to see up in Wisconsin. There's family that I want to see in Kansas, or in Missouri, and in Florida, and in Las Vegas. So I'm just ready to get on a road trip. So I'm ready to get and go. I haven't been back to Oklahoma in more than a year. So, I'm ready to get back up there and see you guys and see my mom and dad. I'm probably going to spend at least a week there when I get there. So when everything clears up. So that's what I'm looking forward to. As far as looking back, I don't want to. Not this year. If I have to look back, I'm going to skip 2020 and just go straight to 2019.
All right.
2020 has been weird, obviously. I luckily have a good job that I'm working from home. And within 1 year, I went from being trained to the job to training the job. And now I'm a team lead of the job. So I'm just keep moving up. I'm making more than I ever have. And I get to be in my robe for half the day. So I'm not hating it. That being said, I haven't left the house for more than half an hour and probably 2 miles for 9 months now. So yeah, that's a huge difference. Scott and I tend to travel to Blood Bowl tournaments throughout the year. Texas, Kansas, Chicago. I was hoping to go to England this year for a tournament, and none of that happened. We didn't run our tournaments here in November like we normally do. So not being able to interact with friends, which basically are family, for this whole year has really sucked. I haven't had to run any events, so it's been a lot less pressure. But also we've been putting on tournaments for 9 years. And, we've had friends from Sweden come into the tournament. We had, one of our favorite artists come in from England. So by not doing that, it's just felt really empty. So obviously looking forward, I really want to get back to tournaments, hang out with the friends, go to new places, eat at new places, and have new food, new experiences, go to England, etc., etc., etc.
Dirk says he misses the Friday night dinner crowd and the movie with the gang. He also says that Mike and Walt need to come hang out.
And going to movies. I mean,
Jerry looks forward to seeing you, Walt.
My Christmas
when this all clears up,
plans every year are to go watch movies. So Christmas and my birthday, I am in that theater because my birthday is July 5th. So I go watch everything that came out July 4th. I'll go to the theater and watch 4 or 5 movies a day just for my birthday or Christmas. Didn't get to do that.
Steve wants to come up and talk to us.
Yeah.
Dirk says he's ready for comic conventions. I agree. I missed out on a couple of those this year.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Steve is from Tulsa. So.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So he's one of us. One of us. He.
Sean, you got anything to add?
I complain about 2020. 2020 has been a very bizarre, to say the least, year for me. From being laid off to going back to work to, whatever. Some of the good, I will say, that came from this year, there's actually quite a bit. Our website, rankingstudios.com. I never would have had the opportunity, the time, or the energy to build that and work that up as I was able to, having the time off that I did. This Task Force Geek, this would not have come about, I don't believe, without 2020 rearing its nasty little head. And a lot of the people that we've met because of this show, a lot of people that we've kind of bonded with and have made a part of, not just Task Force Geek, but hopefully we've made some friendships and we'll get to hear more from them next year. There's a lot to be thankful for. There's a lot to curse. There's a lot to
there's a lot to curse.
There's a lot to curse. I could spout all kinds of vile and whatnot about the bad, but I'm not going to think about the bad. I'm not going to dwell on it. There was some good that came from this year, not as much as I'd wanted.
Right.
There was some good that came from this year. I'm looking forward to this year being over, so that hopefully we can start fresh, start with a firm foundation, and just grow. Take the darkness that was this year and shine a light on it, and let that light just warm us with its love and just grow like
There's my lady right there. She's ready for some comic convention. What does she cosplay as, Walt?
My mom.
Okay, that works.
You could have her cosplay as the original Red Tornado.
There you go.
She will probably, and I'll mention this because the last convention we went to, I bought a Spider-Man jacket. Well, the person I got the jacket from had Carmen Sandiego hats, and my mom is a big hat person. So, Mom, we just need to get you that red trench coat, and you can be Carmen Sandiego. So that's all we got to get.
Cherie is impressed with
big head.
some of our guests. This is awesome.
He has good taste.
We'd like to get Pete back over here too. Maybe one day me and Steve will do that. My thoughts on 2020 is there's a lot of stuff I think good that I've got out of this year, whether it's personal stuff, living completely on my own without a roommate or a wife or a living girlfriend. I'm 46 and I never got to do that. And that's kind of like me being bluntly honest with you guys, like I've always been afraid I couldn't make it on my own. And I learned that I could. I also learned that, relationships actually can grow stronger for temporary change of circumstances, whether it's for children or whatever. The show, thankful for the show because we get to hang out with a lot of people that we normally don't. I mean, like, to be quite frank, Walt knew who I was and I knew who Walt was before this show. And doing this show, I think we probably close to agree that we're kind of like brothers from another mother in a lot of ways. So there's a lot of good things in that aspect. Hey, I've learned that like wearing a mask during the winter is really not so bad because it keeps me warm, which is something I would have never done. And I will, at least the first time, really appreciate a true board game night with all the guys. And it doesn't matter if there's 8 people here. And when I bitch and moan about losing a game or I'm going to lose, but I ended up winning the game, I'm going to just really try to appreciate everybody that's hanging out with me because I really, really miss that this year, including the Blood Bowl tournaments, the Blood Bowl family, the community, all that stuff. There was a lot of money set aside to go do things this year with my really cool girlfriend who likes to go and travel and do those things with me, including Steve too, who's my man wife, not my girlfriend. By the way, and we missed out on all that, and that money went to other things to survive. So, like, I really do appreciate it.
Doubly hard on us too because we lost a very close friend. Basically, Halloween 2019.
Yeah.
So we haven't been able to hang out with the friends since then. We had a whole, get together July for my birthday at a cabin, friends from around the country coming together, hanging out in his memory because his birthday's around there. All that got scrapped. It's just really sucked just not connecting with people. But we do have this. We do have, playing virtually online with Tabletop Simulator or Roll20 or whatever you have.
Yeah.
Zoom.
We found different ways to connect. And I mean, like, honestly, I think if the pandemic happens, I don't know if there is a Task Force Geek. Let's be honest. We've grew in a lot of ways. And I think hopefully we'll learn to, 2021, hopefully will give us hope that something's different. I don't think much is going to be different until maybe the year after, but hey, we got hope for right now, and that's all that matters. And we can do it. We did it this year. We can all do it again. I'm going to get to a few comments, and then we're going to try to wrap up the show. Ronnie says Task Force Geek is more important than you guys know since we have social distance. I miss you folks so much. This show makes it tolerable. So without any jokes, I want to say thank you for all this. We need it badly. Maxine says deal. Maybe that's that cosplaying thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Jerry wants to meet her. Steve's bring it on, buddy. I guess I'm missing the comment there.
He wants to come back up to Oklahoma and meet.
Oh, okay.
Guys.
I got you. Yeah. When all this is over, we need to just say, like, we're meeting at this restaurant. It has picnic tables at this barbecue place. Meet us there if you want to come meet and greet. Michelle says you have to pinky swear to go to a con together as a group. That'd be kind of fun. Mike says it's been great reconnecting with all you guys and all the new friends we met through TFG this year. Can't wait. Steve says 7 p.m. Tuesday nights have become crucial to my sanity on a weekly basis. That's good. Hey, this is basically one of my stepsons. Hi, Parker. This is Parker.
Hey,
This is
Barber.
Jennifer's son,
How you doing?
our oldest man. This is the guy I give lectures to constantly, and he's like, "I know, stop talking, old dude." But I'm trying to groom him to be a man. Thanks, Parker, for watching. And then Damon says, "Great show, guys. Hope more follow come the year." Well, with that said, normally we have a promo time. I've been running the promo banner underneath. I think we're just going to stick with that tonight because I don't want to talk all night. If that's okay with you guys, we'll just wrap up the show here. If you are watching right now and you want to hear us probably badmouth Wonder Woman a whole lot, stick around for after the credits and we'll do that. So, anything else before we officially go?
We also never brought up the idea of Patty Jenkins directing Rogue Squadron and if this movie changed our thoughts on it. But I guess we can touch on that.
We'll touch on that after the credits.
Sure, that's fine.
Because I have thoughts on that.
Yeah.
There is a few thanks that I want to give before we cut out. There's been a handful of guests that we've had on the show that we really haven't heard from a whole lot, and I really want to stay in touch with these guys and make sure that they're either staying in touch with us or anything that's coming their way, they can keep in touch with us and let us know how they're doing. Ryan Smith, who was working on the Eldritch movie.
That's true, Jerry.
I want you to stay in touch and keep us updated on how that's going, how your family's doing. Steve Resk, who with the SRG Universe Super
That's
Show.
a great one, Steve. I mean, or Sean, talking about Steve, I mean, that's a good thing we got this year. I mean, with the show connecting to Steve, and it kind of like gave us some time, or at least for me, to just do what Steve's been telling me to do for years now. Just shut up and do some art, produce something. And we're going to have cards published next year in a game. You know, people are going to buy this stuff, and it's really exciting.
Right. And again, big thanks to him, big shout out to him for allowing us that opportunity. And, great, hopefully great future for him and the cards. Pete Nifton, meeting Pete Nifton after, hearing so much from you about Pete, and finally getting to meet him via the show. Great person. I hope to hear more about him and how he's doing. I know he was having some health issues there that he's getting looked at. So, I'm hoping that everything turns out great for him. Stoney, who's been on here a few times.
Villainous is such a good book. If you do not buy that comic,
dude,
it's really good book. Truly.
It's a great book. Very well written, very well illustrated. You got to get that. I can't wait till that's collected in a big graphic novel to add to my collection. Doug Wood, who had a great Kickstarter campaign for his comic. Haven't heard a lot from him. Hope everything is going well for him.
I talk to him quite often on Twitter, so he's very active on Twitter. So
excellent. Yeah. Joe and Megan Roberts. Haven't heard a lot from them since the show. I'm still reading the book. I'm real slow. I'm a horrible reader. I read real slow, but it's keeping me involved. I'm really loving it. And finally, one other shout out I wanted to give to Mark McKenna, who he was probably the first comic book professional, I think, that we've had on the show that really just opened the doors to a lot of stories and just some idle things that we as fans,
some insider.
Right. There's some things that us fans we kind of wonder about this person, or how did this come about, and then to hear those stories actually coming from somebody there that made my year. I want to give thanks to all these guys.
Thank you
for being here on the show and being a part of this, helping us grow as a show and helping us get out there. You guys mean a lot to me. I'm sure you mean a lot to everybody on the show, but you've really touched me, and I appreciate you guys being here.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody else? You got 30 seconds.
I'm just gonna say, hey, it's just it's been years since any of us have ever really seen each other or actually spoken to each other. So it was really great getting back in touch with you guys. So, thanks for inviting me to be a part of the show, and looking forward to more of this. I'm done. You can stop counting now.
Joe Roberts gummy bears one time.
He did give you gummy bears. All right, I'm going to get these clowns off of here. If you are interested in hearing our thoughts about Wonder Woman 84, where we pick it apart scene by scene, maybe even, stick around after the credits. I want to thank our guests today, Steve, Sean, Walt, and Dirk, for allowing me to continue to run the show while he's out on assignment and trusting me with it. I know I've had terrible internet connections, but that happens and we get to live and learn from it. So I guess what I should do is do the typical thing of thanks for watching Task Force Geek. Click and subscribe, spread us around the internet, whether you're watching us on Facebook or through YouTube or Twitch. And with that said, dream hard. Oh, I'm back. Let's try that again. All right, we are all back. This is, I guess, we're going to call this Task Force Geek After Dark. I don't want to be here forever, as my bladder is already full, and I am a man with a very small bladder. And
you can excuse yourself. We don't mind.
I know I can, and you know what? There. I might. It's just right there. You're right.
Yeah, just do it, man.
So if you're still watching, you can make comments. I'll try to post those up. Let's talk about Wonder Woman. Who wants to go first? We don't have to.
Yeah, we do have to.
I'd like to keep this in about 15 minutes. So let's just roll and keep going because we can talk.
So you've already seen some of my complaints posted, which is I'm gonna start with the invisible jet.
I did not have an issue with
You've
that.
been cracking me up with that stuff.
I have major issue with that because
it's so Superman too, Walt. You know how he throws the Ziploc bag out of his chest?
Look, it's
so stupid.
At least they gave one line to it. That was enough.
So some people may say that my complaint is
I'm awesome.
As how she turned the plane invisible. No, I thought that was cool.
Okay.
I thought
that part was cool. I'm about to be petty right now. Okay.
Go for it.
So where they picked up this F-111 Aardvark.
Here's Walt with the details from the jets.
One pilot fighter knew how to fly.
You're jumping ahead here. You're jumping ahead. Okay. So where they picked this up, that did not exist until 2003. That part of the museum didn't exist until 2003.
It happened in 1984, Walt. Maybe you don't know that.
Well, didn't one of you
Operation Wolf was out?
Didn't you mention that there was the Duran Duran song that didn't come out for another 3 years?
Yeah, or something.
That was the video game Operation.
That was the video game.
Excuse me.
Okay, so
I don't think fanny packs were around back then either.
I don't know.
I'm going to look that up. We
need to look that one up. But they pick up this. They choose this F-111 Aardvark. Okay, so it can make it to Cairo on a tank of gas, or I should say, the vicinity of Egypt, Cairo, but it can't make it back without refueling. So, where did they pick up the fuel to refuel this thing, and how? They don't answer that question. Now I'm going to jump to the part where Steve Trevor, who's a World War I pilot, figures out the exact sequence to start this plane up, which is readily fueled on the airstrip at a museum.
If you've flown one plane, you can fly all of them. You can fly helicopters. I mean, come on.
Come on, dude.
That's regular. That's common knowledge.
What you don't get is this is supposed to be a shitty 80s movie where they know everything, but they didn't go all the way 80s with it like they did in the mall scene.
Honestly, I believe you're onto something, because
they didn't do it enough.
Right.
This should have been like Mannequin 2 or 3 or whatever.
When we're introduced to Dr. Minerva and she has that generic, goofy 80s BS, oops, all my papers are on the floor. Oh, don't help me. Total 80s trope.
Yeah.
But they don't follow through like they should.
But if we're going to go, what is it? Iron Eagle way, if we're going to go Iron Eagle way, we know that the kid in Iron Eagle had been secretly trained to fly an F-16.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that somehow flies. But for this, this, no, not that. Okay, then this one, no, not buying it.
No, as you shouldn't. That was horrible.
Not buying it. Not buying it. I mean, there's a bunch of other things in this movie, but that one right there is my javelin missile from War of the Worlds.
All right, can I do mine real quick?
Sure.
If you don't,
you're breaking
out, but
in fact, you're frozen.
You're frozen.
There's a lot of issues, like the whole armor.
You're all frozen.
Why is
Walt's really frozen?
Why did they even have that? And like,
the good run.
People are awesome. Jizzing themselves about that.
If you're still watching, don't get Cox cable.
And
can you see me now?
We can hear you. We can't.
We can hear you, but we can't see you.
I have Cox cable. Mine.
Oh, there you go.
Over here, we're horrible. Mine's better because I pay more, but I pay a lot more.
I bet you also my kids heard me like in the show, so they got on their devices and they're streaming everywhere. Okay.
Yeah. So. That armor was ridiculous. Made no sense.
The armor that could hold back an army gets shredded
by
Kristen Wiig.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
I don't mind. I didn't mind the armor because I understood. I guess she was still getting weak. I don't know,
but she wasn't. That's the whole thing. Is the armor made sense if she didn't have her powers still?
Right.
But she still had her powers, so it made no sense. Plus, she had to stop following the helicopter, go back and get the armor, and then go back to the secret base, which she now somehow knows where it is.
Well, that's just like Steve Trevor knows exactly how to get from DC to Cairo in a jet fighter.
And
of course he does.
The armor negates the fight. Wonder Woman doesn't fight her. She just sits back. It's like Superman Returns level of non-fighting.
Yeah.
Is somehow they decided that they can't throw a punch in this movie and connect with somebody unless they're a possible rapist? Besides Wonder Woman, who is a rapist?
Yeah, let me get to that here. Okay, so the whole premise of this movie is, since Sean, you haven't seen it, is they find this artifact that is basically like the monkey's paw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you wish for something, it gives you that, but it takes away something else. So Deanna Prince, it's what, 50 years later or more? 60 years later, she's still wet for this dude that she just met for a little while.
66 or so, yeah.
And she wishes for him, and he comes
unknowingly, though. Unknowingly.
She has an extremely long lifespan. So what to us is 30 years could be like a month to her.
Here's
the truth to that. Yes.
Honestly, the way they brought Steve Trevor back by her wishing him, I was actually kind of okay because, it was a wish. I mean, if you had to force him in there, that's better than him being alive or frozen or on super soldier serum or being given immortality by somebody right before the plane went down.
The wish is fine. It's how the wish was fulfilled is not.
Yes.
Not good.
So, for those who don't know, Sean,
unnecessary.
I know. What happens with Steve?
Yeah, he's in the body of another man, and she kind of rapes him, right? This dude. I mean,
not kind of.
They break into a defense facility with video cameras. So this guy, his face is out there as a known.
He is now a federal fugitive,
and they're just fine putting him in danger.
It's awful.
It made no sense. It's an 80s movie. You want an 80s movie montage, which they kind of did without doing a song behind it like every other 80s movie existing.
It was terrible.
They could have done that at the mall instead of at this guy's house.
The mall fight should have been the 80s montage.
Yeah, and even that was handled poorly.
Yeah.
All right, Dirk's talking here. Dirk, the movie is really long. It has a 20-minute opening scene with the kid that you think might be like a foreshadowing flashback of something, but it really is irrelevant. I think you cut that out. It doesn't matter.
No, it brings up the whole faith and truth.
You see Wonder Woman one time in her costume for like the first hour and 20 minutes.
Well, also the costume when she was a kid. What is up with those costumes? Why are they in Lycra when they were in leather the first movie?
Dude.
Why is there a kid involved in this competition, period?
She's royalty. She can get away with it. That's fine.
It's long. It's too long. There's not enough Wonder Woman.
Okay, now
there's not enough Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
there's not enough Cheetah.
No. There's not enough Cheetah.
And Max Lord's terrible too.
Max Lord is terrible.
I love
Max. As far as your criticism about length of time, you are moot because nothing is short enough for you.
Well, yeah, he's got a point there.
No, that's not true. Movie-wise, if you watch a good movie and it's 2 hours and 30 minutes, it doesn't feel like 2 hours and 30. This movie felt like 4 hours.
It moves slow. It moves slow. That's what the
my girlfriend had me check the time.
I am not arguing any of that. I'm just stating that your complaint about a movie being too long means nothing because you want half-hour
not movies. Yeah. Gary brings up the drunk white dudes that wants to rape everyone around in Washington D.C.
And we know, coming from me, we know D.C. is one of the darkest cities in the United States, right?
But nobody cares about beating up a drunk white dude.
I can tell you, I personally went to Washington D.C.
And did you get raped by a drunk guy?
Can I finish my story? Yeah. And I went, and literally they kept saying, because we were middle school, a bunch of middle school kids, we had to stay in a group and we could not go out at night. Do not go out at night. It's like,
exactly.
Why can't you go out at night? It's Washington D.C. And it's like, because that's when they come out. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? You're racist? No, it's just the dregs of society. Apparently, DC is
very crime ridden.
it is the scum and villainy of the earth.
It's very
it's Moss Osley at night.
Poverty. It just happens with poverty.
Yeah. He's right.
That's all there is to it.
I'm so glad our Congress is doing so much in DC.
Gary said the dude lost his job. His girlfriend left him.
Yeah.
He missed his dying sister's birthday, all because the body was stolen.
He seemed happy.
Yeah, it just.
Well, that's the thing. Diana beats up all these people. Like, don't come on to my friend the cheetah and don't try to rape her. Oh, well, I'm going to have my way with this guy because I'm super selfish. She just didn't feel heroic.
It just wasn't needed. It was a dumb decision, straight up.
Yep.
I mean, the first Wonder Woman movie's not the greatest. I'm going to say I enjoyed it because it felt like a good, like a plain comic book movie. And I'm going to say it from the aspect of it felt like a comic I was reading comic movie, not like a Marvel movie.
It was well directed, well paced. It had humor. It had good characters. It had a strong story. The ending sucked.
Sure.
Because it tried to throw in the superhero stuff.
But this one had nothing enjoyable.
I'm not seeing the movie, and you can spoil it. Don't spoil. I don't give a shit. I like Chris Pine. I like Chris Pine a lot.
He's handsome. Why not?
I don't care that he was Kirk, but I liked him as Steve Trevor in the first movie.
Mm-hmm. I like the original Hulk better, Ronnie.
He did a great job with his character. He's if you ever get a chance to see Hell or High Water with Pine, movie's freaking awesome. I love that movie. Anyway, we know that Steve does not survive to today. We know this. It's been illustrated throughout all the other movies. So why bring him back? Why bring him back? What is the other than so
She's
Wonder
a
Woman
woman.
can rape him?
She has to have a love interest.
Yep.
DC, that is a high level production note.
Has she only had Steve Trevor's love interest this entire time in the comic series?
Yes.
Why can't they use other
Pretty
people?
much.
No, she's done
He's
so
the
with
only person
Batman and
anyone
Superman.
knows.
Okay, well,
He's
that's
not
true.
gonna have Batman and Superman in this movie. Come on.
Well,
And that's
Good.
only recently. The problem with Wonder Woman is she doesn't have a great backlog of stories. She's been around since the 40s. That was some bondage shit. That was a lot of weird stuff going on.
That's what she was based on.
I know.
It
So-
was all bondage.
And in
Lean
the
into
50s,
it.
it
Go.
was very tame and mundane. The 60s, it was okay, but she's never had a good, strong writer. Rucka did a good job, but even then, without tying it into the gods, she's a weak character with her backstory and everything.
woman power always get a free pass.
All I know is Cheetah was
Thanks for watching,
not,
Brian.
Cheetah was not very impressive to me in this movie.
No, they should have done more.
Now, I'll say Kristen Wiig playing her character was very, Kristen Wiig. It was, she pulled off the character, but it was basically her. But when it got to actually showing her in the makeup and everything, I laughed my ass off.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Oh, it was. Oh, I laughed because that was the first time I'd seen her, like her actual face. I'd seen
Somebody
like,
compared to her to be like modern day Lita Ford.
I could see
yeah,
that.
it was bad. It was bad. I mean,
I think the reactions would be better in the theater, Hoop. But
Yeah, Hooper says here, do you think the Warner Brothers benefited by releasing this on HBO Max? I mean, I think more people are going to be more forgiving.
yeah,
More people watch it and more
people-
forgiving.
people will be more forgiving to watch it on HBO Max.
but also
But
you don't get that theater experience where you actually turn your brain off and just focus on the movie. So that is going to hurt your reactions to it every time.
It almost
very
sounds
least-
like if you focused on the movie, you would hate it even more.
At a theater, though, you have nothing else to do but watch a movie.
I could eat a pretzel and I would at least have some enjoyment.
That's what I'm saying, though, is theater gives.
I didn't even
you
get my
that
pretzel with
benefit.
cheese.
That's one of the great things about going to a theater is you turn your phone off, you turn off
She's an
everything
apex
to the
predator.
outside world, and you have nothing to do but watch that movie. So you can forgive more because you have nothing but to do but sit there and watch the movie. You're not going to nitpick about talking to people next to you and all this type of stuff.
How do you like those rules of Max Lord? Like, you can only take one wish. Oh, except for you, Kristen Wiig.
yeah, she
You
got
get
two.
How did
Because,
she
like,
get two?
why not? Huh?
How did she get two?
She wanted
She
to be
wanted to be
powerful
an-
like Wonder Woman,
Mhm.
powerful and beautiful and sexy. And then she wanted to be an apex predator, like it says here, like Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And
And she said, "I don't want to be that anymore. I want to be Apex Predator." She renounced her wish. She didn't specifically say, "I renounced my wish."
well, you had to, because throughout the movie, he went through and he goes, Walt would be like, dang it, I wish I had 50 cents. I'd kind of like a Mountain Dew. And there he is, Maxwell Lord going, Walt, do you wish you had 50 cents for a Mountain Dew? And Walt would turn around and go, I do wish I had 50 cents for a Mountain Dew. He would repeat the exact same line. He'd go, granted. And Walt would get a Mountain Dew and he would shit his pants. It was amazing.
They 100% had to have written this movie to kill Max Lord at the end. It was set up that way. It was said multiple times that there's no way to stop him other than taking him out. It had to been written that at the end she kills him on camera and ends everything.
Well,
And they said, we're not doing that. We've got to come up with some other BS. Let's throw it in there.
Well, didn't she break his neck in the comic?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
You know that there was a multiple reshoots on this movie.
absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. That's where that third screenwriter came in.
Yeah.
The studio took it away from anything resembling a good movie and said, we have to have this, we have to have this, we have to have this. Go do it. We don't care. And for whatever reason, DC Comics just likes to take all those colors and turn them down to 0 instead of making this a bright, fun 80s movie, which we want. The ending is on this rainy, cloudy inside area instead of just like a big battle between her and Cheetah, and then she goes and kills Max or something. You know, those are a lot of things that could have been done. They weren't. It was bad.
It didn't need to have this big world encompassing crisis.
No, it didn't.
It didn't need to have that.
I mean,
so what
Yeah.
I'm hearing is if they would have made it a smaller, tighter film, it would probably have been 100 times better.
If it was a different movie, yeah.
If it was a different movie, yeah.
maybe we'll get the Patty Jenkins cut in the future.
No.
Well, with that being said, we were talking about Patty Jenkins doing a Rogue Squadron.
I hope she's not writing it.
Yes, his kids saved the day, not Wonder Woman.
I have no issue with her writing that. She's the daughter of a Air Force pilot who was a dogfighter. She knows that. She was grown up on it. She wrote Monster. That was an amazingly good movie. She wrote Wonder Woman, the first one.
No, she didn't.
You say that, but okay.
Sheree, I'll be shocked if you like this movie. I don't know any woman that likes this movie yet.
I will give her the benefit of the doubt on Rogue Squadron because it's not DC. You're not going to have those producers coming down on you with a heavy hand. She can do what she wants.
I'll give her leeway.
Yeah,
But I still go into it with a little bit of doubt now.
I'm not gonna give up on Patty Jenkins until I see more duds from her.
yeah.
Because like I said, is the first Wonder Woman great? No, but it's a good, fun superhero movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
And it's one I've rewatched, so that tells you something since I don't watch a lot of stuff.
But do you watch the end? Do you watch the end, or do you just kind of get to like the right before the end and stop?
No, I've seen it probably 3 total times now, and I've watched the whole thing through.
I watch it all the way through, and then I kind of give a little eye roll when it gets around to the end. So
Yeah, that end is like, we don't need it.
is you could tell they ran out of money.
The end of which?
Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman movie.
Oh, it says here on IMDb she wrote Just Drive, which was a short, Velocity Rules, which was a short, Monster,
Mhm.
Wonder Woman 1984 screenplay by
They're trying to
story
trick
by,
you, Jury, with Chris Pine.
Wonder Woman 3, which has been announced.
Oh,
So-
gosh, I know. It's going to fast track it.
Yeah,
that-
of course it will.
Those are her writing credits. She's only
Okay.
got the
Wait.
5.
Well, you heard what Warner Brothers was expecting to get in order to greenlight a third movie, right? They wanted to make at least 10 million in the theaters, and they made 16. So
I'm fairly and I obviously I don't know. I'm just speculating here, but it seemed to me there was a lot of finagling going on whenever
I agree, Gary.
whenever Warner Brothers said that they were going to release this on HBO Max. Patty Jenkins, Gal Gadot especially were very, very pivotal in all of that. In other words, paid off so that they weren't causing any problems. And I'm curious if part of that was fast tracking the third movie. Once this came out, if it reached a certain level, they would fast track the third one to keep her mouth shut so that they could just, win or lose, it doesn't matter. Fine, go make Wonder Woman
also,
3. You can have your trilogy.
They give her
You got a
that
good
writing
point.
credit, which means nothing except that she gets residuals for being the writer versus just the director. That's all this comes down to, really. Jeff Johns and her writing this script for 2 was probably, like I said, a very basic draft of a couple of things they wanted to hit, and they gave it to that other guy who wrote Doom, the movie, and he wrote this movie, and that's why
It had The Rock in it, Steve.
it sure did. And I saw that in the theater.
And
It had Carl Urban in it.
and Carl Urban too.
Yeah.
The Rock and Carl Urban.
And it was forgettable.
Steve,
I know. Spider-Man, new costume.
Hey, you know what? I'll take that Spider-Man costume over Wonder Woman 44 any day.
I own. That's how bad I am. I own Doom on DVD. On DVD.
Hey, I
Not
don't.
Blu-ray, on DVD.
I've seen it once, and no.
I've seen it twice. The only reason why I saw it twice is because it was on Sci-Fi Channel, and a friend of mine was over, and there was nothing else to watch.
She fights a robot with Richard Pryor, Gary. A CGI Richard Pryor.
I would be down for that.
And maybe Max Headroom.
And that's another, again, going back to the problem with Wonder Woman. Name another Wonder Woman villain besides Cheetah.
Silver Swan.
Silver Swan. Nubia.
Giganta.
Artemis.
Giganta. That would have been awesome.
Artemis?
Artemis ended up becoming.
So. Yeah.
She became Wonder Woman for a while.
For someone with 80 years of storylines, and that's all we've got?
Dude, I can't argue with you on that because I've read comics now for 30 plus years, and there was a very short time that I've ever had Wonder Woman on my pull list as a regular title. I mean,
Rucker was writing it.
No, it wasn't even at that point. It was during the Artemis stuff when there was new Wonder Woman stuff. Yeah. It's just not for me, and it's not because a lot of times now recently I've heard they put some really good creators on it, like is it G. Willow Wilson or whoever? I'm probably saying her name wrong, but there's been some good people on there, but it's never interested me enough. I bought Aquaman more in the last 30 years than Wonder Woman, and I don't sway from women titles. I'd rather look at women characters than men characters, quite frankly.
You can look at this movie and see the problem with Wonder Woman as a character. Why did we have a love interest? Why was that even in the movie? It's not.
It feels like it's telling you we're strong, we're girl power, and all this, but I need a man so much that I gotta wish him. And I'll rate this guy with his face on him because that's all I need.
He flies the plane. He drives the car. Yeah, he saves her.
He's the one who convinces her to give up her wish. She didn't want to.
Her one time. Yeah, exactly. All of that's not needed. It's because the writer doesn't know how to deal with a woman and doesn't know how to write a good story.
You might have a great theory that guy wrote most of this. It's like a tech war book where William Shatner goes, I have an idea about space. Yeah. They go, that's enough. Mm-hmm. We're going to let somebody else write this.
Somebody on YouTube made that same exact point. It was like, this movie's supposed to be showing women empowerment and everything, but yet here's Steve Trevor doing all these things for her. She still needs this man to help her when she's the one, she's getting weaker and he's the one who's helping her out. So, you're right.
If she would at the end have just broken his neck and taken that route. And again, why did he have to have the kid? The kid didn't really add anything to it. It tried to make him sympathetic. We don't need him to be sympathetic.
No.
That might have been what most people asked me is I wonder who the kid's mom was because the kid was I think Asian.
He's Asian, yeah.
Yeah.
Blatantly Asian.
Mm-hmm. Which is fine, but
there's
not needed.
Yeah, and then there's no explanation as to, hey, why is your kid Asian?
Oh, he turns everything around because of the love of his kid? No. Come on. Let him be evil and break his freaking neck. And have her show that sometimes, as a warrior, you have to cross that line, which other heroes don't do. Between her and Superman breaks Zod's neck, and in that movie, they didn't do it right. They should have shown how it broke him, because it does. It destroys Superman by having to break a person's neck. He kills him. It's his brother, the sole survivor of a dying planet that he wishes he could do. That destroys him as a character and as a human. Wonder Woman is the opposite of that. She has her mission. She has to get it done. And she doesn't have any qualms with that. When she kills Max Lord in the comic, she doesn't care what other people think.
I agree.
She says, it had to be done. I was the one to do it.
Who
Yeah,
who
Screw yourself.
and who was it that she had the conversation with after? Was it Batman or Superman that was like looking down on her over
I
that?
think it was Batman, and she basically said, "If you do this to some of your people, how many more people in Gotham would be alive?"
Right.
Right.
And that's a great thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Gary says once she freed herself from the shackles of man, she was able to soar. Well, that's true. She
That
now
is
flies too.
True.
She flies. She learned to
does fly.
fly
Yeah, but
based off Steve Trevor telling her how to just go with it.
She can fly in the comics. And again,
I know she can. I just
I
wish
know
they
she
would
can.
have.
But how she learned how to fly, she needed a man to tell her that.
Yep.
I mean, where's the empowerment here? Come on.
I'm with you. But yeah, there's tons of problems
It just-
with the movie.
I liked
It's
them
just-
better when they didn't fly.
It was just like, I'm like, the whole time I'm sitting here going, she's just where, this, like I was saying, the woman empowerment, and none of it was there.
I like how she turned a coffee cup invisible 50 years ago, never could find it. It was a trick she learned, and she thought, why not try it on this jet? What I would have loved to have done is been like invisible and intangible, and they would have just fell through it. And
Hey,
died.
you want to know what
That'd
would have been better? You want to know what would have been better? If she flew the damn plane.
Yeah.
like she should,
Like she should.
like all men wanted her to do.
Yeah,
And
like
Been
it's
around
six-
since
it's 60 years later, and she hasn't learned how to fly yet? Come on.
As long as it was one of those cheap plastic looking models,
Oh, by the way,
on the string.
Yeah.
I over the weekend I did binge watch the old Wonder Woman series.
It's so
It's so wonderfully bad.
Mhm.
And I will say this. In
Hurry up, Walt. We're running out of time. Go for it.
The first episode, the first fight scene, that was an amazing chick fight for that time, because that's the only one in the entire series that was that good.
My advice to you, Sean, is not to watch it, but if you do, watch the first 20 minutes with the kid. While it's kind of lame, it's still better than the regular movie. And then watch the cutscene at the very, very end credits where you get to see a cameo by Linda Carter.
Which was dumb.
Which, I mean, it was better than
Right
nothing.
color eyes. Like, did she have photoshopped green eyes?
I didn't pay
I
that
don't
close
know.
attention. I was too busy rolling my eyes.
Yeah, that was so dumb.
At how that cameo was placed, just thrown in there.
Dirk, we don't know.
No.
I don't know.
No,
I don't think
it's been announced that it is not part of a
It is not.
DPU. It is its own standalone thing.
Anyway,
All right.
I
That's
say
gonna.
watch it. It's not good.
They've
Wow.
also said that Justice League is a dead end movie. There will not be anything more to that story. Once it's over, it's over.
No, there's going to be stuff that spills out of the movie. It just won't be DC canon.
Yeah.
The
They'll
executives
take
said
everything. Like, they'll take
the
whatever.
executives have said that this movie, once it's dead, it's dead.
They said that somewhere recently. All right. With that, we are ending the show finally. We've talked long enough, and we could continue to talk longer if you stayed with us and watched this until now. Thank you very much. And if you left, we totally understand. So for Walt, for Steve, for Sean, and for myself, and thanks once again for Dirk to let me control the board tonight. And we wish you well in New Mexico. I am Scott Prime saying dream hard.